Good morning. My name is Eli Howes. Can you please tell me your full name?
But you can just call me Lupa.
Yeah, but in this first part, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself. Let's talk about what you do. Do you work or are you a student?
I work. I'm self-employed. I work as an interpreter, but I hope to be a student one day again because I want to get my master's degree.
Can you manage your time well at work?
As I'm self-employed, I actually get to decide whether I want to work or I want to take a break from my job and just relax. So my schedule is not a fixed schedule. I can have a very busy week and then the next can be a very laid back one.
Do you use a lot of technology in your work?
Not really. To be honest, sometimes just my phone in order to check the meaning of the words and translations, and that's pretty much it.
Move on. Let's talk about wild animals. Are there any wild animals in your country?
I believe so, yes, because we have vast territories and we have mountains, and I think there are many wild animals there.
Have you ever been to a zoo or a safari park?
I have been to a zoo multiple times, but I don't consider that a fun thing to do. That's not my idea of fun.
Why not?
Because I hate the idea of seeing animals locked up in those cages, deprived of their freedom, and I don't really approve of that.
Are there any animals that you would especially like to see in the wild?
In the wild, maybe tigers and lions or cheetahs.
Are there any TV programs about wild animals in your country?
To be honest, of course there are, but I don't get to watch TV programs at all in my life because I'm always so busy with, my son and my job, and just generally I have a lot on my plate. So I
Let's move
don't. I
on. Let's talk about ambitions and dreams. Do you think you are an ambitious person?
I don't think so. I was more ambitious when I was younger, but now I like to be relaxed. I like to enjoy life, and I'm not after anything in particular, not after any like high goals or aspirations. I'm just like a very laid back person.
Hmm. What was your main dream when you were a child?
I wanted to be a dancer, a professional dancer, but I didn't have an opportunity to become one because my father didn't have enough money. He couldn't afford dancing classes at that time.
Mhm. And so, what would be some of your ambitions in life now?
That's a tough question, to be honest. I don't tend to look, far ahead. I'm not that person who plans, 5 years ahead, and I just try to live here and now and really enjoy the moment. And I want to grow in my professional sphere to speak English better, to be a better interpreter, and that's it, maybe.
What do you think of people who see themselves as the kind of person who never give up on their dreams? What do you think of those kind of people?
It's good. I really admire such people because I lack these traits of personality myself. So I admire people who are committed and dedicated and basically know what they want and are capable of just doing what it takes.
We're going to move on to part two. And in this part, I'm going to give you a topic and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you talk, you'll have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say and you can make some notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, here's your topic. You have 1 minute to plan. All right, remember you have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so don't worry if I stop you. I'll tell you when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
Well, I would like to tell you about a game. It's actually a computer game that I used to play with my brother at home when we were school kids. And the game was called The Sims. So in that game, we were supposed to build houses and create families. And what I liked about that game is that we were to decide whether those people, in the game. Virtual people would get married or not, if they would have children or not, what kind of personalities they would have, and also building their houses and deciding to redecorate something, to have something refurbished. And it was really nice, maybe, to change the wallpapers from time to time.
Mm.
So the game actually was quite realistic, as opposed to other games like the Strike and the Far Cry, and other games where there is a lot of shooting involved. So to me, that game was really a perfect game because it was down to earth, realistic, and about life. And what I liked about that also, the bonding, because we would play with my brother, and as a result spend a lot of time together, which allowed us to really connect and develop our relationship, brother sister, the sibling relationship, and to bond. And we would have different houses that we would compare, like, look, in my house I have this, and it was really exciting.
Thank you. Would you recommend this game for other children?
I would recommend, because I think no violence is involved in that game, and why not? It's a safe game to play.
So, we've been talking about a game you played as a child, and I'd like to discuss with you one or two more general questions related to this. Let's consider, first of all, awards. What kind of awards can children get at school?
Something like marks and their grades, credits, and other awards that are, maybe come from their parents, like when they succeed in school and they become rewarded with something like going to a cinema with their parents, or maybe getting a toy that they had been dreaming about.
Do you think that awards and rewards are always good things for children?
Sure. I think it's very, very important because at the end of the day, we all like to be acknowledged and appreciated, and that's really essential. And if we don't get rewarded, then we get into this kind of state when you feel it's all useless or aimless, and you don't have enough motivation to keep going. Especially for kids, it's important.
Yes, but some people worry that if we give children too many awards and too many rewards, when they're growing up, they're going to find it harder to find motivation because as adults, we don't really get as many rewards or awards, or do we?
I think we do get
Right.
rewards
Okay.
because rewards not necessarily have to be something like physical, like money or the salary. Sometimes it's just the feeling. You help people, you teach someone, and their gratitude, their feedback can be such a great reward that you understand, you realize it was worth it.
Do you think that some rewards are better motivators than other rewards? For example, you mentioned money, but you also mentioned emotional rewards like gratitude and feeling like you've helped someone.
So what exactly is the question? Sorry.
So, do you think that some rewards are better and more motivating than
Oh,
other rewards?
mhm. More stimulating. I believe so, yes, because, for example, nowadays we can see that people sometimes want to get into better shape and start working out, but for some reason they fail, and then they see a marathon announced on, for example, on Instagram, and there is a reward like the latest iPhone, iPhone 15, and so they become really motivated to start working out.
Well, let's talk about motivation more generally. What can people do when they're feeling a bit demotivated?
You need to think about what was your goal in the first place. Why did you start doing whatever you were doing? And you just need to revive your aspirations, your goals, and having small wins as you go along the way is really essential, because you might become burnout and it takes its toll on you, like if you just really if you are too hard on yourself trying to get where you want to get, that can be discouraging. So make sure that you have small wins along the way,
Mm.
and that will maybe ensure your arrival.
What advice would you give to people that are too harsh on themselves, too hard on themselves, like you mentioned?
I don't think it's a bad thing to be hard on yourself.
Mm.
Um, but just don't beat yourself up. Like, don't punish yourself for failing. Just be reasonable with this hardness. uh,
Thank you very
yeah.
much. That is the end of the speaking test.